All right, everyone. So I'm going to give you my recap here for today. Another day trading on the traveling trading station, trading on vacation, and locking up $2,796.26. Not bad. It's a green day. Yesterday was a red day, so I was happy today just to be green. I really was like, I don't really need to make a lot. I just don't want to have two red days in a row if I can help it. So just to be green is good. And I traded a little bit better today. I didn't fully capitalize on the moves on TCBP because see, I'm only up $2,200 on it, but I made some money, so that's good. OTRK, I made a little bit on that one. That's actually our leading gapper, but it is a cheaper stock, which is not my favorite. So why don't we go back to the beginning of the day and I'll show you my first trades. And of course, I'm finding all of these trades right on the Day Trade Dash software, which you guys can check out. Of course, members of Warrior Trading have access to this software as part of their subscription to the chat room and to the scanners and charts and everything else that we're working on. But you could also subscribe just over at daytradedash.com if you want to. All right, so and that's just for the tools, no classes, and you don't see my stream or anything like that, but you would get the scanners, which is good. All right, so I started a little earlier this morning. I'm an hour ahead of you guys, so it's right. So it's quarter of 10 of 10 here, or sorry, 10 of 11 here, whereas it's 10 of 10 in Eastern time. So I'm up a little earlier because there goes my I broke my glasses got broken, which is right here. They're broken at the frame, and this happened last week, and I was able to hold my glasses together last week just by putting the lens back in and kind of holding it like that. But then one of my kids picked up my glasses and brought them outside, and so the lens naturally disappeared. But miraculously, we found it. So I'm back to having glasses, sort of, as long as I don't move my head too much. So anyways, first trade this morning, 7 a.m. We had this nice squeeze on TCBP. Let's see, we got to go back a little bit. So right at about 7, and I didn't catch that trade. I had it on watch because it was one of the ones I had traded yesterday, but I was like, I don't know, it's a little early. I'm not sure if I should go for it. And it goes from 575. I almost punched it, and I was like, just hold on a second. And it goes up to 655, and I was like, gosh darn it. Well, that would have been a 75-cent trade. That would have been nice. But naturally, being that it was so early, it was on light volume. So I wouldn't have been able to get in and out with 10,000 shares and make 7,000 on it. But I could have taken probably 2,000 without a problem. Anyways, I didn't take that trade. But it pulls back, and then I started doing dip trades on it. I bought dips off moving averages, dips off VWAP, dip off the 20. I sort of avoided breakout trades on it. And you can see how when it came up to these highs, it rejected that level. So I did some dip trades on it through this area. And in this move here, I made $500. So it wasn't a lot, but I was up $500. And then I switched gears and took a trade on OTRK. On OTRK, oh, it looks like it halted up. That's good to see. I'm glad for that. But it also dropped below $1 at the open. It looked pretty weak. Anyways, I took my first trade on it at $1.03, which was right here. It broke over $1, held $1. I bought it at $1.03, 20,000 shares. It goes up to $1.07 or $1.06. I'm up 3 cents. I take the profit at $1.05, and I made $500 on 20,000 shares. So it's not a big winner by any means, but and honestly, the problem with that trade is that I'm taking more risk on it. I mean, I'm risking, you're not risking 2 cents when you take a trade. You're risking 4 or 5 at the best, but it could be more. So with 20,000 shares, I basically took $1,000 of risk to make 500 in profit. Now I thought maybe it would squeeze through $1.10 and open up, but it didn't. So that wasn't a very good trade, and for that reason, I didn't go back for it. And I was watching it maybe, but it didn't end up holding up. It sold off at the open, and then just now it squeezed and halted up, which is great. But anyways, excuse me. So I missed that trade. All right, so that was, but I made 500 on it early in the day. And then at the open, TCBP Got a couple more trades on this. So just before the open, right here, it rips up. And that was a nice break of VWAP, really clean. It breaks, goes from 620, and then just surges up to 683. So I traded it kind of at the top of this candle, getting in at like 670, but made a little bit on it up to 680. And then again, I was doing dip trades. My biggest trade was 9,000 shares, and that was on this candle right here. I thought for sure it was going to rip. And I got in 9,000 shares at about 680, 678, maybe 680, and it hits a high of 681. And I took the loss. I stopped out and lost 400 on it. It ended up dropping to 650. So that could have been a bigger loss. And I was like, oh, all right, I don't know. I don't know. And then I get back in with 2,000 shares at 680. It goes up to 690, but doesn't rip through the highs. So again, got out, maybe a $100 winner. Then I get back in with 4,000 shares for the break of 680 again, and it breaks 690. I'm in at 683. It breaks 690, goes to 698, 690, boom, halts up. 637, something like that, halts up. But I sold way too soon. So I was holding small size at a 683 average into the halt. It opens higher. I did a dip and rip for the trade over 8. And then I added back at 820. It hits a high of 837 and then flushes down here. And it ended up losing about maybe 200 off the top. That was my last trade. And that was kind of my cue to say, you know what? I'm good. 2,800 bucks is a great day. In the shadow of a red day, it doesn't feel like as much, but that's emotion talking, and the market has given me some opportunities today. I traded them. I didn't fully capitalize. We had a couple of big green candles, like on TCBP, this one, and I didn't really make as much on either of them as I could have. So, and then we had a couple big red candles too. So you know what? This is just another day to try to keep my head above water, and I'm happy to see, a halt here. I'm happy to see that momentum, but I just don't want to overstay my welcome. I really don't. I don't want a second red day in a row. And the only way I can really prevent that at this point is by walking away right here and shutting it down. So that's 2,700 bucks in the green. Yesterday was one of those days where I had about $5,000 in winners, but I had like $12,000 in losers. That was the problem. Yesterday, it wasn't that I didn't have winners. I had a couple of really nice trades. I was up, I think, 2,000 on TCBP, and I gave some back, and I was up 2,000 on another stock and gave some back. So I had some good winners, but I overtraded. I didn't keep the profit in my pocket. And of course, part of that was because I started red, and then I was overtrading to try to get back to green. And that ends up being, that can be a dangerous game. You're churning commissions, you're taking more and more risk, and it can go the wrong way. And it did yesterday. It went the wrong way. I overstayed my welcome, and I finished, down 6,500 or whatever it was. And then the commissions were, another, a few $100s on top of that. So it is what it is. I started the week in the red. Today, I've made back, about a third of the loss. And if I can have another day like today on Thursday and another day like today on Friday, I'll finish the week flat. Well, flat is better than red. So at this point, that seems like a nice goal. One of the things with having a red day is just recognizing early on that you're probably not going to make it all back in one day. I try to keep my red days small enough so I can make it back in one day, but sometimes they get a little bigger, and I haven't been hitting very many $6,000 or $10,000 days recently. So to lose $6,000 yesterday was a little too much. It's going to take a few days to make that back. So today was one sort of chip, digging away at it, and I'll try to do the same again tomorrow. And, I wouldn't be finding these stocks if it weren't for these scanners. This is the tool that I use every single day. So I see the stocks on the scanners, and I try to trade the stocks that are the strongest based on the metrics that they're showing on the scans, and focus on leading, gappers, and gainers. And today, that worked well. All right, so that's it for me. Thanks as always for tuning in. A reminder, as always, that trading is risky and there's no guarantee for success, whether you trade with me or you learn on your own. So practice in a simulator before you put real money on the line, and don't try to blindly follow me or anyone else. Take it slow. I'll see you guys back here first thing tomorrow morning.